Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is May the 17th, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. We'll say it's a tad mixed early on and early in this afternoon for me on this fine Saturday. I woke up, pretty much in, good mood, good place, good state of mind. But my body hasn't been super duper cooperative. Another day with some stomach problems, so it goes. I really don't feel like I ate or did anything too crazy last night. We just had the chicken and rice bowl. But sometimes it happens where you're just not optimum. You're just not 100%. But that being said, I wanted to get to the gym. So we made that happen. And overall, it was good. It wasn't my favorite gym session, that's for sure. Maybe it was just a bit of the stomach. Maybe it was a bit of the mentality. Like I just kind of was in my head. I wasn't liking it, in terms of like, man, the fit isn't hitting. I feel fat. Like this stuff like that. But that happens sometimes. Not every gym session is going to go well. You're not going to feel like you hit it as hard as you wanted to every time. These things happen. But overall, it was good. And, glad we did it. Post gym, we're back home now. We're chilling. And I'm hoping that I'll start feeling better soon. Knock on some wood there. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. The weather has been nice, so that's good. I'll take that. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup and we'll get into some news. All right. Our first story comes from NPR. More than 20 dead after tornadoes sweep through Kentucky and Missouri. Powerful storms and tornadoes tore through several Midwestern and southern states overnight Friday, leaving carnage and flattened buildings in their wake. In Kentucky, at least 24 people have died. Authorities say 23 of those deaths occurred in London, Kentucky, in the southeastern part of the state, with some people still unaccounted for. Let me scroll ahead here to the Missouri part. In Missouri, there are at least 7 dead, 5 in the St. Louis area, and 2 others in a more rural part of the state, south of the capital. According to Power Outage US, the storms left nearly 500,000 customers without power in dozens of states from Missouri to Maryland. Now, I will say, last night, just, from Ohio, we did get some storms. We did get some rain. We did get, a bit of that bad weather. But I haven't heard of anything crazy, at least in terms of this area. Obviously, really upsetting to hear about my home state, Missouri, or, at least I should say my birth state, whatever, you know what I mean. But, hopefully people are, rallying, doing okay there. And then also, the same for Kentucky, tri-state neighbor. Definitely sad to hear, some people lost their lives just like that overnight. So, definitely sad, definitely unfortunate. Let's move on to another story from NBC News. Excuse me. Georgia mother says she is being forced to keep brain dead pregnant daughter alive under abortion ban law. A pregnant woman in Georgia who was declared brain dead is being kept alive by ventilators because of the state's law banning abortions, the woman's mother says, telling local news that the family has no say in the matter. April Newkirk said her 30-year-old daughter, Adriana Smith, began experiencing intense headaches in early February. Smith was 9 weeks pregnant at the time with her second child, NBC affiliate WXIA-TV of Atlanta reported. Smith sought treatment at Northside Hospital, but was released and given medication, Newkirk told the station. Newkirk said the hospital did not run any tests or scans. Northside did not immediately respond to a request for comment on Thursday. A day after seeking treatment, Smith's boyfriend woke up to find her gasping for air and making gargling noises. Smith was rushed to Emory Decatur and then transferred to Emory University Hospital, where a CT scan showed multiple blood clots in her brain, the news station reported. Newkirk told the news station that her daughter was declared brain dead and has been breathing through machines for more than 90 days. Let's see here. According to the WXIA, the plan is to keep Smith alive until the baby boy can safely survive on his own, most likely 32 weeks. And mind you, like, there's just no choice in the matter. And it's also worth noting that it's not like the family is saying, like, hey, like, we adamantly want to do this. We're just saying that it's like, we do not have a say in the matter. Like, the doctors won't let us take her off of, machines or any kind of ventilation. Like, she has to stay alive according to this Life Act that Brian Kemp, the Republican governor, signed into place. Essentially, yeah, it's like, it's a near total abortion ban. I think you maybe have 6 weeks. So even when this story started, with Adriana at 9 weeks, it was already out of the question. But yeah, under the law, abortions are illegal after 6 weeks of pregnancy. Exceptions include some situations to protect the woman's life and health when fetal anomalies are detected, and in cases of rape and incest that have been documented with the police. It's just so crazy in this situation because it's very clear and apparent that this person is not alive anymore. Like, they are alive in terms of like physical function, but they have no brain function. Essentially, the way that the state is laying this out is like, well, she's still a perfectly good vessel, so she should be able to have the kid, and then, you can do what you need to do. And it's like, no, that's just not how this works. Like, I mean, it's not how it should work. At the end of the day, if, in terms of, I'm trying to think of the word here, not ownership or stewardship of the person's, life at this point, like, it should go to the family to say, no, this isn't what she would want. Like, she wouldn't want to, be kept alive in this way. I don't think she would want to have a baby in this way. This was never a part of the plan. But they're like, nope, you have to have this baby. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that part. And then after the baby is born, then you can, have her, taken off of the machines. This is a very wild situation unfolding here, and essentially saying like, hey, we don't have a choice because of this abortion ban. That's just how this works, which is just very grim and it's very sad. Also, the last part here, I mean, it sucks to mention, but it is just a fact of life. Newkirk said the family is also having to deal with the financial responsibility of keeping Smith on life support. So, I mean, to me, that's also a crazy stipulation that it's the onus, the burden is on the family to keep Adriana alive. Like, that's just wild to me. Like, at the end of the day, let's say that they did want to opt out for Adriana and say, hey, this isn't working. This isn't what she wanted. Yes, it's unfortunate, but this isn't a life that we wanted for the baby either. We're going to make this decision. And essentially they're like, no, you can't make it, and you have to pay for the decision you don't want. Like, that, it blows my mind. It really fucking does. I was, kind of just on Snapchat, seeing people's stories, and someone mentioned this story. And they're like, yo, this is some fucking Handmaid's Tale shit. And I'm not super familiar with that show, but I've seen some trailers, seen some clips and stuff, and I'm like, damn, like, this is one of those times where this person gets to say that and they're completely 100% fucking right. We're getting closer and closer to this place where, you don't have control of your own body if you're a woman. It is at any given moment, it can be taken from you. Like, that agency can just be stripped away either by another man, or the state itself can come in and just start telling you what to do with your body. Especially with the onus of having a baby involved. Like, that's just so crazy. I don't know. I can't say that enough, how wild the times are when it comes to this kind of shit. But yeah, I felt compelled to talk about this story when I first heard it, and just now getting to it now. So Let's move on to another story. A lot of death in this episode, but I mean, I guess that kind of comes with the territory on the newsstand. From the Independent. Moments before his execution, a suspected serial killer's final words were, "Trump, keep making America great." And boy, howdy, that's a way to get me into the story here for Glenn Rogers. But I mean, this is a guy with a lot of tails attached to his jacket. Glenn Rogers, a convicted Florida murderer and suspected serial killer known as the Casanova Killer, used his last words Thursday to share his support for President Donald Trump. "President Donald Trump, keep making America great. I'm ready to go," Rogers, 62, said just before receiving a lethal injection at the Florida State Prison. Rogers, who was once linked to the O.J. Simpson murder trial, also thanked his wife, who had visited him in prison earlier that year. Then, without providing further context, Rogers said, "In the near future, your questions will be answered," which is very ominous, very spooky, very mysterious. He was pronounced dead at 6:16 p.m. Rogers was convicted in Florida for the 1995 murder of Tina Marie Cribbs, a 34-year-old mother of two whom he met at a bar in Tampa. She was found dead in a hotel room. Rogers also received a separate death sentence in California for the 1995 strangulation of Sandra Gallagher, a mother of three he met at a bar in Van Nuys just weeks before the Cribbs murder. He was stopped in Kentucky following a highway chase in Cribbs' car. Rogers once claimed responsibility for up to 70 murders across the United States, though he later recanted the statement. So yeah, I mean, this seems to be a thing. Like, I remember when I was like kind of on a kick and I was just like learning a lot about just like, random serial killers and stuff like that, that they kind of got this idea, or like this idea of like reputation padding or something like that, where it's like, yeah, you might have got me on X, Y, maybe a Z murder for sure, but then you just start adding to your shit, and you're saying you killed this person, that person, all these people, so you can kind of go in to prison with more of a reputation. And not to mention, it might get you more attention, more, fame, or maybe as kids might say, clout, that you could use to like maybe get people to do an interview with you, give you some more little, off time to go yap, or maybe you write a book about all this shit that you quote unquote did, all these fucking gruesome, grisly murders, when really it's only maybe the one or two that they actually do have you on. But at the end of the day, they're going to keep dragging you out and talking to you about all these, potential other murders. So for him to talk this shit kind of just made sense. But then to kind of be like, okay, maybe I didn't do it. Granted, I don't know all the details of this guy specifically. I just learned when I was reading through this about his connection to the OJ killing. And he was just saying like, oh yeah, no, I was involved in that. I did some stuff there. Like, I think he said that OJ had like hired him to do something. But the police were like, no, the evidence doesn't hold that up. Like, we don't think he was actually involved. Let me see, actually, I can just read that part. In 2012, a documentary titled My Brother, the Serial Killer, produced by Rogers' brother Clay, examined his possible involvement in the 1994 stabbing deaths of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. However, Los Angeles authorities dismissed the theory, stating they had no reason to believe that Mr. Rogers was involved. Now, this is the fifth execution coming out of Florida in 2025. There's another one coming up in June, which should not surprise me in the least. But yeah, y'all know I like to talk about this shit. What was his last meal? His final meal included pizza, chocolate, and soda. I wish I had the details there. That's very vague. I would love to know what kind of pizza, what kind of chocolate, what kind of soda are we talking about? I feel like these things matter. But I overall think those are good picks. You know what I mean? Pizza, that's yummy. It was always yummy your entire time. You might as well get it one more time. Chocolate, that's a good little dessert. Granted, I mean, what are we talking? Chocolate bars? I'm assuming so. I don't know. Maybe for me, I would do like a chocolate cheesecake. That'd be sick. And a soda. Man, that's like the weakest part of this. Why are you getting like a fizzy ass little soda? I mean, a Coke would be nice. One last Coke to enjoy for the road to the great beyond. But I think for me, I would definitely do a beer. That would maybe my tweak here. I would just make it a solid drink. I don't know. Maybe not. But fuck this guy. He was not a good guy. I don't want to give him any props or any kind of credit here. Though I will say, his older, when he was back in the day on his Casanova shit, he was a bit of a looker. I give him credit for that. He had the long hair, little beard action going. I could see a little country soft rock action coming out of this guy. You're at the right honky tonk bar, and he's wooing you out, and then next thing you know, he is, yeah. So that's not good. Fuck this guy. But yeah, let's go ahead and close out with one more story. It's political. It's fraud. We love it. Actually, we hate that shit, but it is interesting. Let's go ahead though and take our last break, and we'll close it out. Whew. Ooh. All right. Ooh. Our last story comes from WKRN.com. A former Speaker of the Tennessee House of Representatives and his former top aide have been convicted of defrauding the state. After a 3-week trial and 4 days of deliberations, the 12-person jury found former Tennessee House Speaker Glenn Casada. I've been listening to some Cascada, sorry. Casada, 64, and his former top aide, Cade Cothran. I gotta say, that's kind of a slick name. What's the name? Cade Cothran. That's a good book name. That's a good book character. Sadly, though, he did some fraud. 38, guilty of multiple charges related to a money-making scheme involving political mailers. The two were accused of pushing the state of Tennessee to use a company started by Cothran. House Republicans used taxpayer money to hire the political mailing group, unaware Cothran was behind the firm. According to the United States Department of Justice, the scheme began in late 2019. Casada, while representing Tennessee House District 63. Cothran, a former state representative, Robin Smith. Cothran and former state representative Robin Smith, 61, of Hickson, engaged in a fraudulent scheme to enrich themselves by exploiting Casada and Smith's official positions as legislators to obtain funds from the state of Tennessee. Specifically, the DOJ said the conspirators deceived their former colleagues and officials at the state of Tennessee in an effort to obtain state funds for Phoenix Solutions, Cothran's political consulting business, in exchange for recruiting legislators and securing the approval of Phoenix Solutions invoices by the state. Cothran paid kickbacks to Casada and Smith. Now, I don't know. I was curious about this. I mean, maybe I can try to dig in later and maybe I can come back. I don't know why Smith isn't involved in this. Like, maybe he's going to be tried on a different time or something like that. I don't know. But, I feel like it should be the three of them and not just the two. But let's keep reading. Cothran, with Casada's support, established a company called Phoenix Solutions with the goal of providing constituent mail services to Tennessee General Assembly members, receiving approximately $51,947 from the state of Tennessee. In 2022, Casada and Cothran were indicted on conspiracy charges, alleging that they engaged in a fraudulent scheme to enrich themselves by using their official positions to obtain state approval of Phoenix Solutions as a mailer program vendor. The indictment also charged Casada and Cothran with bribery and kickbacks concerning programs receiving federal funds using a fictitious name to carry out a fraud, theft concerning programs receiving federal funds, and multiple counts of money laundering, bribery and kickbacks, and honest services wire fraud. During the trial, one count on the indictment, count 20, spending money laundering, was dropped. Attorneys did not specify why the final money laundering count was dropped, saying only they would keep their strategy for trying to build or trying the full case to themselves when asked. Just 7 months into 2019, Quesada resigned from his role as House Speaker amid a scandal in his office. He was hit with allegations, including sending racist and sexist text messages to his former aide, Catherine. The FBI raided Quesada's and Catherine's homes in January of 2021. Yeah, he was talking that slick shit. He was talking that foul shit. Federal agents searched the offices and homes of several Republican Tennessee lawmakers in 2021, a move that led to 3 legislative staff members being placed on administrative leave. Catherine allegedly sent racist and sexually explicit text messages between 2014 and 2016. Catherine admitted to drug use during the time and claimed he was seeking help. So these motherfuckers was just on the bends. According to the Associated Press, current House Speaker Cameron Sexton, who is among the lawmakers and staffers who testified to the grand jury, had been held out as a star witness, but ultimately did not testify. AP reported the defense declined to call any witnesses. Neither Quesada nor Catherine testified, and the judge shut down attempts by the defense to discuss in front of jurors whether Sexton wore a wire. Let's see. On Friday, May 16th, Quesada was found guilty on 17 of 19 counts. He was acquitted on count 5 and 10 of honest services wire fraud, while Catherine was found guilty on all counts. Let's see. Both Quesada and Catherine are being released on their own reconnaissance until sentencing, which is scheduled for September 12th. They both face up to 20 years in federal prison and a maximum fine of $500,000. They may also be ordered to forfeit any property which represents or is traceable to receipts attained as receipt of the result of their crimes. It's crazy they went through all this fucking trouble for like not even $60,000. You know, like they set up this whole fucking grift, and they're like, oh, because we can just get away with it. It's easy money. It's free money. But they stole, obviously, you know, from their constituent, you know, honest taxpayers and shit like that. But once again, it's not like this was for a big fucking thing. You're splitting that 2-3 ways, right? Like, it's just so strange. And once again, I don't get how Smith gets off from this. You know, we mentioned them earlier and throughout this whole thing. I don't know, but I mean, like I said, if I find out any more, we can definitely come back to this. You know, maybe, you know, hopefully I can remember to dig this up or it just lands in my lap again, you know, around the time of sentencing. But yeah, that's it. That's the episode for today. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube, follow on TikTok, follow on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, whatever listening platform you're on, whatever one you want to be on. You can find me there. Let's see. Is that it? Yeah. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.